Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Another difficult one. I'm going to do these stories because I just want to highlight how often these stories come up. We've got, I'm afraid to say, another story about a young girl, this time a 15-year-old, who was abducted and then attacked, raped by an asylum seeker, a legal immigrant, who was living in an immigrant's hotel. The immigrant has been charged with abducting and doing this to her, raping her now, so over the 30 seconds, while living in a taxpayer-funded asylum hotel. Sri Lankan-born Yashin Himasara, who's 20, is accused of beating and strangling the teenage girl after he carried her away against her will in Feltham, West London, on November the 1st. He'd been living in the 3-star St Giles Hotel in Feltham, which is being used by the government to house asylum seekers, illegal immigrants, child rapists. Himasara denied the charge as he appeared in Isleworth Crown Court via video link from Wormwood Scrubs. Let's hope the good people involved in Wormwood Scrubs pay him a visit in his cell and deliver the sort of justice that these people actually need. He spoke to confirm his name and date of birth, aided by a Sinhala interpreter. He denied one count of kidnapping, one count of rape, one count of assault by penetration, and one count of assault by beating. He also denied one count of sexual activity with a child and 2 counts of intentional strangulation. His defending lawyer, Bozzy Sheffy, said Himasara struggles to speak English and will need to be assisted by an interpreter at trial. He shouldn't be here. The judge, Kwame Inyundo, remanded the migrant into custody ahead of his trial on April the 27th next year. Yet again, more immigrants. Now, I'm going to tell you something. We have a choice in this country. We can either continue letting in the third world dross, continue accepting that our children will be attacked, that we will be attacked, that we'll be murdered in our sleep, that we will be outbred till they are controlling all aspects of government, that we will be herded and eventually genocided, and of course be called racist at every stage along that. We can accept that future. Or, alternatively, we could say no and fight back and say we're not having this anymore and still be called racist. But at least at that point we'll survive. Now, I don't know about you, but when presented with these two choices, I think I know which one I'm going to do. It's a shame our government's going for the first one, though, isn't it? I think that's where we are in this country now. We've got a government basically doing this to us. We need a government that will not let these people in the first place, that will recognise that some cultures are shit, like cultures that sort of encourage rape of children, that treat women badly, that will hang gays or throw them off buildings. We accept that they're shit cultures and we just stop the cultures in our country. We say, no, we're not having that culture in our country. Because if we go to their countries, we're not allowed to use our culture there, are we? You go to Saudi Arabia and say, let's bring British culture. Let's have a church and a pub and get drunk and watch naked women dancing on poles and trying to shove £50 notes in their whatever slot you can find, really. Oh no, that wouldn't happen, would it? Because they reject our culture. And if it's okay for foreigners to reject our culture, surely, out of fairness, it's okay for us to reject foreign culture. And perhaps we should. And we should say, look, in every single Muslim country, no non-Muslim is allowed to have power. So how about we do exactly the same thing? Reciprocity. We are not a Muslim country, so we will not allow Muslims to have power. Is that an option? Who knows? But if we start applying these rules, and very strongly, then who knows? We might end up with a position where we won't be having tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of immigrants coming into this country looking to rape children. And we might have a government that's not encouraging it. Just a thought. Let me know your thoughts on this. Thanks a lot. Bye.